We discussed the Hispanic outreach that is part of Oasis United Methodist Church, including the introduction of an important free immigration legal service. It's all here on the next Latino Motion. Join us.
Choose to get lost in the woods to gain experience in forest management.
Choose to travel through time to understand the past.
Choose to soar to pursue a career in dance.
Stockton University offers 50 high-quality academic programs, small class sizes, and affordable tuition. Choose to match your interests and talents at one of New Jersey's nationally ranked universities.
Latino Motion with Bert Lopez is presented by Latino Motion Public Affairs Media, a New Jersey nonprofit corporation, and Stockton University. This edition of Latino Motion with Bert Lopez is brought to you by the HD Studios at the campus of Stockton University.
Funding for Latino Motion is provided by Atlanticare, offering primary, specialty, and urgent care, plus surgery and more. Atlantic City Electric, energy for a changing world. And South Jersey Gas.
Welcome to Latino Motion, a weekly interview show highlighting issues impacting New Jersey's Latino community while advancing understanding of Latino cultural heritage and contributions to our society. And here is your host, Bert Lopez.
Buenos dias and welcome to Latino Motion. I'm happy to have Reverend Lisette Perez with us. She is with Oasis United Methodist Church. Welcome, Reverend, to Latino Motion.
Thank you so much for the invitation to share our services and what we do in our church. Thank you again, Bert.
And it's not just about what you do for at your church, but also the many services that you render to the community. And I have to say that it is a great honor because I know you carry on a great family tradition. I remember your mother, Naomi Perez, who was the pastor, who really was the founder of Oasis United Methodist Church and serving the Pleasantville community. And you have picked up that torch as the reverend for the same congregation. I know you must be very proud to follow in those footsteps.
Definitely. I'm telling you, we are celebrating right now 32 years of being in ministry. And my mother still, she's a retired pastor now, but she still comes to our church and she's part of our worship service. And I'm very proud to be part of what she started 32 years ago. And also my family is part of the church. So it's a family. We call it the Oasis family because we have been in ministry for a long time. And we're very proud of what we're doing in service for our community in Pleasantville and all the different programs that we have.
Congratulations, and please do give my regards to your mother and the rest of the family. I do want to talk about the important outreach that you're carrying out, and I know we have a couple other guests that have joined us today. You want to introduce the two missionaries that are helping you?
Yes, definitely. We have Yesenia Palomino and Juan Carlos Ruiz. Both of them are missionaries that are serving in our church, serving with all the different outreach programs. And I would like to invite Yesenia, who has been very involved in all the outreach programs, to say a little bit of what we are doing to reach out to our community. Yesenia?
Thank you, and thank you for having us here today. Yes, we are excited. We have been serving in Oasis for a little more over a year, and it has been a blessing for us. We have different programs that we provide for the community. We have a food pantry once a month that have been serving the community for around 30 years now. And during the pandemic, the food pantry did a distribution twice a month, following the pandemic protocols. And also during the pandemic, in collaboration with the city of Pleasantville and other agencies, we became a site for COVID testing. also with other United Methodist churches and community groups, we were able to find 4,000 appointments for people, because it was difficult for many, for especially for older people or people that were lack of technology, to make those appointments. So it was...
Yeah, let me just expand a little bit on that, because obviously I had the pleasure to work with the Reverend and Atlantic Care to get more of our Latino community the opportunity to get vaccinated. And we know that there's a disparity in terms of number of Latinos that do get vaccinated. So it was very important. Juan Carlos, I know that you work alongside with Yesenia in this effort. What have you seen different in terms of the needs since the epidemic within the Latino community?
Yes, within the Latino community, we have a lot of needs, especially because our community is a very diverse community. We have people from all backgrounds and from all Latin American, the Caribbean as well. So in regards to that, we have this immigration program, obviously pay much attention to the children and the youth in our community. And we always provide all we can to all this program to support them and their development and education. Few programs that we have the backpack program, we have the lunchbox program, the Christmas gift program as well. We're also in the process to connecting with the clergy and key leaders in the community to figure out what are the needs of our people during this time, especially this time 2020 with the pandemic, and with this exploring the possibilities of providing other services.
I do want to go back to Reverend Perez. Reverend, Juan Carlos brought up the whole idea, the great needs, the great diversity within the Latino community. How important was it for you to adjust during the epidemic, and also as we have more migrants coming into our community? Certainly, we've had the case to the storm with Maria in Puerto Rico, and we had an influx of Puerto Ricans that came into the island. So how have you been able to adjust to be able to meet some of those needs?
Well, during the pandemic, this was a very difficult time and a challenge, because usually when we are in a crisis, any kind of crisis, people just come to the church or try to find ways of connecting. But with the pandemic, we were not able to connect physically. So we needed to be extremely creative on serving the community, taking in consideration all the different protocols. One of the things that was very important for the community, the Hispanic Latino community, was to provide information that was correct, because there were all kinds of information in the internet and in the Facebook and all the different social networks that sometimes were not accurate. So it was extremely important to make sure that our Hispanic Latino community were aware of all the different protocols that needed to be followed. And for example, in the case of the vaccine, some of the immigrants and undocumented people were afraid of going to get the vaccine just because they were afraid that they would be deported or something was going to happen to them. The families and the health, in general, a lot of families were sick, got sick, and they didn't know what to do. And we were there to provide support. There were some funerals that I had to do for people that I didn't even know, and provide, support. And in the midst of the grief of many of the families, that was extremely difficult to do. We needed to be extremely creative to try to provide that support. In the case of hurricanes and other disasters, our United Methodist Church have what we call UMCOR, which is the national and global program that every time that there is a disaster in any part of the world, our churches together, all the churches in the United States and around the world, they provide a space to send money. It is kind of a Red Cross from the United Methodist Church, and we were able to provide service and provide help and monies through the UMCOR and other programs that were in the annual conference in New Jersey. So
I know.
Yes.
I know that you certainly have done a lot. The church has done a lot to serve the community across very difficult times, particularly during COVID. So I commend you for all the fine work. And obviously, many churches are suffering from the lack of folks that are able to attend the church. So how have you been able to overcome some of those challenges?
Oh, we have been extremely creative. One of the things that we learned is that the technology is a ministry. So we were able to get some people in our community to help us with technology. We were able to do all the services through Zoom and Facebook Live. And we were able to connect using the theme Oasis Chimes. So it was kind of a way of motivating the church to be the church in the midst of the pandemic.
You certainly have to be creative. And we do want to cover a lot more material. We certainly have a lot to talk about. We want to talk about immigration and some of the services there. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with more Latino Motion. Welcome back to Latino Motion. We continue our discussion with Reverend Lisette Perez, as well as Yesenia Palomino and Juan Carlos Ruiz with United Methodist Church in Pleasantville. And a lot of the outreach that they're doing centers around the immigrant community. You just basically introduced a new service, a very important service on immigration. Reverend, can you talk a little bit about that service and how it's helping the community?
Definitely. We call it JFUN. JFUN stands for Justice for Our Neighbor program. Basically, Justice for Our Neighbors is a United Methodist ministry from the denomination of hospitality that welcomes immigrants by providing affordable, high-quality immigration legal services to low-income families. The program also engages in advocacy for immigrants' rights and offers education to the communities of faith and the public. It's like a way of connecting with the immigrants, specifically for those who are undocumented. And we are part of Big J Fund, the national program, and our chapter is Delaware Valley chapter, which is local affiliation with the national organization. And it serves immigrants in Eastern Pennsylvania, Delaware, the Eastern Maryland, and New Jersey. And we started this program last September, and we became a chapter last September. And the majority of the immigrants in this area, they needed to go to Philadelphia or New York to find affordable immigration legal services. But now we're close to them. And what we do is that we reach out to them in order to provide a safe space for them. We will talk more. We can talk more about all the different programs. Maybe I'll just say Carlos.
That's important. I'm going to cover a little bit about the list of services, et cetera. But first of all, you said this is nationwide, and exactly, are you actually providing appointments for them to actually speak to a real attorney who's an expert in immigration?
That is correct. The attorneys will come to our church, which is a safe place for them, and the attorney provides all the legal services, either free or very low fee, in order to provide good advice to all the undocumented people if they want to become citizens or legal residents, and especially for persons that qualify, because it all depends on the different laws that we have in the United States at the moment. So
if you don't mind, just giving out the information, how does to make an appointment, if you need to speak to an immigration lawyer and you want to make an appointment, how do you go about doing that?
Well, I was going to ask Juan Carlos to talk a little bit about the process. Juan Carlos?
Sure, definitely, yes. So basically, the person who needs the service will call the pastor Lisette. And after that, the pastor Lisette or one of our volunteers will get an appointment for the person who needs the service. When our guests arrive, the pastor will receive them together with a group of trained volunteers. So we have volunteers within the community who will take care of our people who need assistance. We introduce our guests to the respective attorney, which is going to be in the church building. We provide translation with fully trained translators, if necessary. Our translators are committed to provide confidentiality and a safe space for our guests. During the pandemic, because we are in this pandemic still, we are following the pandemic protocols like wearing masks, physical distance, use sanitizers, etc. We provide refreshments also and snacks and childcare for families while the guest is in the interview. Also,
that's very important, obviously, right? Giving that accessibility, again, to reiterate, the church, Oasis United Methodist Church, is located locally in Pleasantville. So that's where the appointments will actually be taking place there at the church in Pleasantville, correct?
That is correct. We are located at 316 Martin Luther King Jr. Avenue in Pleasantville, New Jersey. And the persons will come here, we create a safe space for them.
Reverend Perez, and you know that, within our culture, within Latino community, church is very important. And there is, particularly in the migrant community, some fear of, in certain institutions, but church is a safe place for many Latino families. So it's very important, and certainly a great and a big deal that you're doing this through the church, and people could have that access.
Yeah, and one thing is extremely important is all the volunteers that work with us, they are fully trained to follow confidentiality and provide a safe space for all the persons who come. All of them. We have translators, we have persons who work with the hospitality, and we have the persons that just provide child care, because some families, they have children. We don't want to hold them. They can come with the children. We keep them entertained while they go to the interviews. It's extremely important because some of the issues that are shared with the lawyers, we don't want the children to hear. And in reality, there are many cases that are extremely difficult, and we try to provide what is necessary. And the other thing is that all the lawyers are trained, and they make sure that they provide information that people can trust, that is real, because some lawyers, how it is, take advantage of the immigrant community, and they charge more money, and sometimes they don't provide the services for the immigration.
That's critically important. Certainly, I know that folks who pay a lot of money when they really have a bad case or a hopeless case, and yet the attorney still charging them for something that they know it's not going to turn out well. So the fact that you have that is amazing, and you clarify one important factor, that these are real attorneys, right? They're not. Notary with public individuals. These are actual attorneys who are providing legal services.
And the good thing is that they have access to all the laws and can provide accurate information. They're not going to give hopes to persons that do not have an opportunity to become legal residents. They will tell them exactly what it is. And the other thing that is important is that I am the one that provides follow-up. Once they have the interview with the attorney, and if they qualify for any of the programs that they're offered, then we give the follow-up, and we try to make sure that we stay in connection with those persons that come in order for them to feel safe in the process.
Oh, it's very, very important and great service that you're providing through the local community. We want to continue this discussion, but we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with more Latino Motion. Welcome back to Latino Motion. We continue our discussion with Reverend Lizette Perez, as well as Yesenia Palomino and Juan Carlos Ruiz, with Oasis United Methodist Church. And Reverend, I know we were talking about the very important service that you provide for immigration. Is called J-Fund, which is Justice for Our Neighbors.
Correct.
It's so incredible that service is available here at affordable prices for our members of our migrant community. Let's talk a little bit about the list of services that are available.
I'm going to ask Juan Carlos to mention some of the services, and I can expand. Juan Carlos?
Okay. Sure, definitely. A few of the services that we offer throughout this program are DACA, temporarily protected status like TPS, violence against women, adjustment of status, that is legal permanent residency or green card, naturalization, asylum, removal, or people who are in process of being deported as well. We help with that. Victims of crime, cooperation with law enforcement, and others. At the moment, with J-Fund, with this program, we do not handle employment-based visas applications.
That's a pretty comprehensive list, Reverend. Certainly, it sounds like a lot, and you're taking appointments for these type of cases.
Definitely. And what is important is that some of these cases, a lot of people in our community, they have to go to Philadelphia or New York because they cannot find affordable legal services. So by coming here, they don't have to go that far. And one thing that is important is someone started a case and it's in process. Our lawyers have access to all the different cases. So they can come and see where they are in the process. And all the information is accurate. And, because sometimes, again, some lawyers take advantage. And we keep repeating, this is a place that you can trust because our lawyers are not going to tell you something or give you hope when the lawyers always try to make sure that they have the right and accurate information.
Yeah, that's very critically important. And I know that's kind of sets you apart in terms of the services you provide as a community-based church, but you also have a little bit of other differences. And I know that, Yesenia, you could perhaps expand on what some of those differences are between what J-Fund provides and other services.
Yeah, I think one of the differences is that the volunteers are motivated by Christian faith and radical hospitality. I think it is very important to remember that people needs to make an appointment because it's for their safety. So when people call, we give them the date and the time. So not everybody knows when the lawyers are going to be there, when the people are going to be there. So it's important to make an appointment and to have that time before they go to the church and to the interview with the lawyer. The other important thing I think is that we are taking these services to the communities. Like us, there are other places, other United Methodist churches around United States that have these kind of services. And we go to the community because we know that some people can be on risk, only if they're driving. So we are trying to go where is needed. So we invite people to share this information, to call the pastor, and to be able to make an appointment and see how the lawyers can be helping in their cases.
And let me just go back a little bit about the different services. So as far as the DACA, these are the children that arrived early. Is there still opportunity for people to file new cases, or are you simply helping them, maybe renew their DACA application? Can you expand a little more on that?
Definitely. This is the way we do it. We are asking the people who are undocumented, just come and make an appointment with the lawyer. The lawyer will tell you if you qualify for any of the programs. There are persons that have come that they just recently have arrived, or others that have been in the United States for a long time. We always tell the people, just come, talk to the lawyer, and the lawyer will tell you if you qualify for any other programs or if you do not qualify. If you want to start the process, if you are in the middle of the process, if you want to help someone else, or if you want to bring someone else that also from your country. One of the things that we have experienced is that when people come to the United States, they go through a very difficult time, either crossing the border or going through other different ways, and they are very traumatized, and they are going through very difficult. It's very difficult to even talk about all the things that they experience when they cross the border or when they arrive, and all the difficulties that they have when they come here. So that for us, that is extremely important. We have a pastoral approach. So we make sure that that person feels safe to share that information, and anything that we can do to provide support for the persons and the families. We as a pastor, we and all the volunteers, we are there to just walk with them to do this process in the middle.
Now I know the first point of contact is calling you directly to set up an appointment, and I know that you have given out a phone number where people could call simply to either ask for you or to leave a message for an appointment. Tell me a little bit about that. Is that something that people are taking advantage of? Are the calls coming in? Are you getting the appointments lined up?
Yes, the calls are coming in, and the good thing is that the word of mouth. I mean, people are sharing. When some of the people that came to the program, they go back to their friends and family, and their families are coming. So it is just sometimes it's better to just have a contact with me as a pastor, and then they trust us, and they can come and just share the information with friends and family. We don't say no to anybody. We just tell everybody, just come and see what are the possibilities.
Can you share that phone number again?
My number is 973-405-8851. It's not a 609 area code. Again, 973-405-8851. And you can also leave a text because sometimes people prefer to leave a text. When you call me, we prepare an application for the persons or the guest. We call it guest, and then we provide the appointment. And from there on, Juan Carlos already expressed and mentioned all the process.
This is certainly it's a great service that you're providing to the community. So is justice for our neighbors through Oasis United Methodist Church. Again, Reverend Perez, thank you so much for sharing this very vital information with our audience. And certainly Yesenia and Juan Carlos, thank you for your service as well. It's been a pleasure having you all on the show.
Thank you for the invitation.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And folks, I'm sorry, that's all the time we have. Thank you for joining us once again here on Latino Motion.
Choose to get your feet wet, to learn more about protecting our environment.
Choose to read minds, to understand the human brain.
Choose to get your hands dirty, to create a masterpiece.
Stockton University offers 50 high-quality academic programs, small class sizes, and affordable tuition. Choose to match your interests and talents at one of New Jersey's nationally ranked universities.
Funding for Latino Motion is provided by Atlanticare, offering primary, specialty, and urgent care, plus surgery and more. Atlantic City Electric, energy for a changing world. And South Jersey Gas.